I'm gonna move. I just have to fly. Yeah, my bad. So people are speaking there.
I know how audio works for this though.
Thinking. So I'm not in anybody's shot. I like this. You get some of the board. Yes.
You can't see my
Can you see us or
scalp.
no?
I'll hold up. I got
Is
you.
this on right now?
Are we live right now?
Yeah.
No.
We're live.
Are you all cool with the back of your heads being shown?
I am here. Back of my head's cool.
Maggie, we got your scalp out of shot as you asked for it.
Can we get mine out?
I'm not gonna lie. Maybe. No promises.
You're that.
No, I'm chilling.
Yeah, it's gonna be your scalp in a shot, man. Look, actually, never mind. You're good. You're solid.
You still need my phone?
To read it, yeah. Oh yeah, because I start too.
Yeah, where do you need to be?
So yeah, I like this. I like where this is. I just need like to pull it. Like if you go in the testimony, then you should be able to pull it mine.
Maddie, also you have to be careful getting out of your
Yeah,
chair.
which one is this? Like which live stream is this?
Mine.
Yours.
Yeah.
Yours probably sure.
No, I think we can just go right ahead.
I look at it work. That means so weird.
So this is an introduction. Fernando's going to do his introduction, and then we start with
Let me check that.
one by one. Let me check the color.
Yeah.
That's actually the
Fernando has a general
We really do.
You mean you can stop seeing?
Is my scalp big enough?
No, they're not live.
I'm live.
Yeah.
Ian's the one. It says, I mean, we got people in there.
I'm like used to having my
They
arms
block.
during all the protests. I was like, it doesn't go to me. No,
It is live. You just have to click watch the video. Put it on.
Is it coming through the webcam fine?
It is coming through the webcam fine. I'm trying to establish that we have sound.
Do what is the audio input for?
Okay, and it has, yeah, so we're good.
All right, fire.
Yes, we have audio.
This is.
Alright. Let's rock and roll.
I need to study vocab.
It's rocking.
We started.
Live. We ready to go?
We're ready to go.
Let's speak. We need Fernando.
We're good.
We got Fernando. Okay, so we're good to go?
Yes.
Bet.
Is SVE live right now?
Yeah.
No.
No,
The Instagram live is not.
Instagram is updated.
We should wait because I feel like most people do it on their Instagram. That's what I would do. Yeah, you get a notification. So I say we wait for that.
Hi, my name is Ashley Perez, and I'm a second year student, co-founder of SVE, and point person for the Fanning Occupation. Before we share our personal testimonials, we would like to share this collaborative statement.
We students have sacrificed a week and a half of our lives here at our school in order to make the change in our community that Katherine Bergeron's administration failed to do. This sacrifice does not only extend to us, but to everyone else involved in the protest actions which have taken place. We have faced obstacles, and our success so far would not have been possible without the extensive support, time, and resources given freely from the hands of students, faculty, staff, and the larger New London community. We have been fed and cared for by the community that we are attempting to defend. We love you all and cannot thank you enough. Before we begin, we want to state that we initiated this meeting as an opportunity for us to speak out and invite the president to listen to us in a capacity that she has not so far. She turned down our invitation due to the objections that we would be requiring at least an audio recording of the meeting for accessibility reasons, record-keeping purposes, and our own personal and professional safety. Please also note that our statements are personal and individual, and are not necessarily representative or reflective of all occupiers or SVE as a whole. We also wanted to give some content warnings for testimonies, which include discussions of panic attacks, ableism, racism, deportation, sexism, transphobia, sexual assault, trauma, suicide, and the events of the occupation. We ask our community to listen thoroughly to our stories and hope KB is listening nonetheless. Thank you.
I'd like to preface this by saying anytime I'm mentioning you, anytime I use you, I'm referring to hopefully former President Katherine Bergeron. I wrote this a lot, and every time I keep writing about you specifically, I realize that by doing that, I'm losing. This isn't about you. As much as this was caused by you and your actions, this is not about you. I have not stayed in this building 200 hours because of you. I haven't risked my personal and academic standing because of you. This is not about you. This is about a culture. This is about DIE staffers leaving year after year. This is about trans students being disrespected. This is about sexual assault survivors not being protected. This is about wanting better for my school. We're going on a trip to better places and your unneeded baggage. I've been sleeping on the floor. My back hurts. I've missed so much class. I haven't felt the kiss of the sun on my skin in over 200 hours. And I'm not even mad. When on the road to brighter days, you are not concerned with the long, dark nights. You are the tip of a much larger iceberg, and I refuse to sink to it. We are dismantling the pillars of oppression this institution upholds piece by piece, brick by brick, president by president, until I don't have to take over a fucking building for y'all to get the picture.
My name is Andrew Hardin, and I am one of the original Fanning Occupiers, meaning that I've been in this building far, far too long. As a white man, I know that I have a lot of privileges that many other students do not have, which is why I decided to occupy. Throughout this lock-in, I've been asking myself a single question over and over. Why am I here? Why am I, a freshman, so invested in the student protest that I locked myself in a building to support the movement? Why have I chosen to sleep on the floor and shower in the sink? Throughout the last week and a half, I've been using my many different answers to these questions as motivation to hold out and stay strong in Fanning. Now that I've been here for 10 days, I'm going to share a few of these answers for people who may be questioning why we are protesting. I'm here because I want to use my privilege to support other students who've been suffering directly due to the president and this administration. I'm here because I support a black man who chose to resign from his job rather than support a president who did not respect him. I'm here because I support the hundreds of con students who are sick of an administration that claims they will take action and then never follow through. I'm here because I am tired of KB and the Board of Trustees consistently ignoring student voices. I'm here so that I can tell everyone who asks me about con that not only do I love it here, but that I would recommend it to anyone thinking about applying. I'm here so that SVE can work with the administration to create radical change. I'm here so that the next generation of con students will not have to suffer due to issues that have been consistently and systematically ignored throughout this administration. Lastly, I want everyone watching to know that this movement was more than just the few individuals who were here, locked into Fanning. Our community was also here, thanks to the support of students, faculty, staff, and alumni who provided us with support by dedicating their time and resources to the lock-in. We appreciate all of the assistance and could not have survived the last week and a half with everyone on the outside. So do not underestimate your impact. We can't let up. Although KB must resign to begin our solution, we still need to work to create a con that is supportive of its faculty, staff, and most importantly, its students.
I'm gonna sit down, sorry. Okay. So, like Andrew, I asked myself the question, why am I here? A simple question that seems to have a simple answer. To fight for change, to fight for DIEI, to fight for equality. Although this is all true, I keep thinking to myself, why am I here? Is it because my mother raised me to fight against injustice, or because my father taught me to stand up no matter the cost? Yes, but I am still asking myself, why am I here? Is it because my ancestors were not given the choice, disregarded, discarded, and abandoned because of the color of their skin? Is it because my BIPOC friends and I are tired of being marginalized and silenced for our necessities? Yes, but why am I here? And now I realize I'm not here for me, but for those who can't be, for those who are afraid to be, for those who are tired of fighting, for those who have tried and failed, and for those who will come after me. Because when I'm running down the hall, chains in one hand and locks in the other, with my heart beating so fast that I can hear it, racing to the doors because we are the only building that has a chance, I didn't do that for me, but I did that for those around me. For the people who were crouching in a pitch black bathroom hoping not to get caught, for those who created distractions so that Campbell couldn't enter the building, and for those who worked days to get us here. These are my people, and that is why I'm here. I think about your actions, Katherine Bergeron. Actions that brought us here, and I think to myself, did we need that money more than our students needed their dignity? Did we need that money more than Dean King deserved his voice? More than DIEI deserved respect? So the question now is, why are you here? When you continue to wait out the inevitable and you only postpone the progress that is to be made. We are making history here. We have made history here, and your chapter is over. I want to share 2 quotes. The first is, stand up for what you believe in, no matter what. And the second is, there will always be people who tell you that you can't. Don't listen to these people. The first quote is from my mother, who despite burying me at 16, dropped out of school and dedicated her life to making sure I was given the opportunities that she was not. The second quote is from my father, the hardest working man I know, a man who worked 2 jobs and 60+ hours a week at 17 years old to provide for his wife and young son. My parents were not allowed to reach their dreams, so they put their dreams in me and my sister. As said by Mr. Braxton, a former prosecutor and Con alum, my parents were not able to fly, but they taught me and my sister to do so. So I stand here before you, I actually sit, and say to those who say no, to those who say that it can't be done, and I say that I believe. I believe in every occupant who has laid down everything to be here. I believe in every SVE leader who put in hundreds of hours to ensure that our demands are heard. I believe in every faculty member who has supported our cause and used their voice to spread our message. I believe in every staff member, every alum, every parent, and every student who has been involved. It is our community that gives us strength, and it is our community that gives me hope. These are the reasons why I gave up my dorm, my sleep, and my freedom, like so many others have, to fight for what I believe in whom I believe in, and what I believe can be. I'll leave you with this. They say that actions speak louder than words. If so, I believe that we have spoken loudly. The only question is, will you listen? Thank you.
My name is Anna Vredebo, and I'm a first-year student who uses she/her pronouns. I identify as a student with a disability and as a member of the LGBTQ+ community. When I got to Connecticut College, I was still hopeful about its ability to support me as a disabled student. Upon arriving, I quickly realized how alienated the disabled community was on campus. There isn't a center for disabled students, and there wasn't a club for us either. Within the first week of my college experience, the elevator in Cummings, which holds all of the Welcome Weekend programming, broke and hasn't been fixed. Some of my friends and I then got together to start brainstorming what we needed on campus. We decided to start a disability club and then spent winter break writing out the Constitution for the Disability Affinity Club, or DAC. I was on the team of people who were going to occupy Becker House. Sunday of the protest, the 26th, I met at Earth House with around 30 strangers, and I was ready to be locked in a building with them. I was willing to occupy because disabled students need a voice, they need a community, and they need a system that thinks about them. I put a lot of thought into whether I could physically be locked in a building, and I decided it was something I had to do just so we had a voice in the room. That night, I had an anxiety attack in Earth House with all those strangers, not because of the stress of going in. No, the final trigger was when they told us it wasn't happening. It wasn't happening because it wasn't safe. Peaceful protest at Connecticut College wasn't safe. For the next 2 days, all I wanted to do was get into that or any building to fight for these demands that my DIC friends and I had spent 8+ hours a day working on. When I was given the opportunity to join the Fanning Occupation, my bags were already packed and I was ready to go. I feel really empowered to be here in this space with all these people who care so much about this movement. However, there was a reason I chose to occupy Becker originally. It was closer to my dorm and wasn't 4 stories tall. We aren't using the elevator here, even though some of us need it because, like so many accessibility aids on campus, it periodically breaks. We also know that if this happens while we are in here, it'll be pinned on us. I also have dietary restrictions, which the supply team is doing their best to take care of now, but early on caused me a lot of extra anxiety about whether I would be able to get enough food to function. These are questions and obstacles I face every day on campus, except there isn't a team of people right there ready to immediately address it. These are problems I individually have, but there are students having similar ones every single day. Students have been protesting about the same issues we are for years, and they haven't been resolved. The problems aren't going away, it's just that the students are graduating and the new students come in and it restarts. We shouldn't be ignored again. The administration needs to stop dragging its feet because this movement isn't going away and we aren't giving up.
Hi, my name is Emiliano Camero Cortez. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm from the class of 2025. I want to start by making it clear that whoever is watching this live stream is not watching this for us. They are not here in support of students who lock themselves in some building. Rather, they are here for all students, all faculty, and all staff, and especially for the ones who cannot be here themselves. I know that these past weeks have been hectic. I know that people are frustrated. I know that some faculty, staff, and students are getting restless, that some parents and guardians are angry and they are concerned. Currently, and especially last week, Con was not a conducive environment for learning. People could not focus, could not concentrate. People could not get to class, and professors could not teach it. I'm sure that by now, some of you are all tired of hearing about the same things. You are tired and sick of hearing about DIEI and about institutional change. But it is one thing to talk about inequalities. It is one thing to learn about them in a classroom. It is one thing to talk about them amongst your peers. But living them is a completely different thing. And it is a reality for many of us. The state of instability, of exhaustion, and of frustration is a constant for so many students. For BIPOC students who get racialized and microaggressed in their day-to-day lives on this campus. For low-income students who have 2, 3, maybe even 4 work-study jobs, or have a 40-hour full-time job. For those who have to take out loans and take on debt just to be here, and whose financial aid appeals often go disregarded and unlistened to. For disabled students whose safety has never been assured in Con's academic buildings or even in the cafeteria they're supposed to feel safe eating in. Whose accommodations are constantly ignored and who are belittled when they ask for help. For undocumented students who do not have the same employment or internship opportunities as others, who do not have a country to call home, and who have to remain either invisible or ignored, and who cannot even talk about their struggles for fear of legal ramification. For Muslim and Jewish students whose faiths are not talked about and taught in an educated, competent manner, and whose holidays are not always respected by all faculty. For international students who worry about how and when they will be able to go home next, and who are talked down as if their accents or countries of origin somehow negate their intelligence or their capabilities. For sexual assault survivors who do not receive the protection that they deserve and whose perpetrators are more oftentimes defended by this school than they are. For those who have to take up the task of educating others even when they themselves are still hurting. For LGBTQIA+ students who fear not being seen as themselves and whose family situations are not often taken as seriously as they should. All of us experience this reality of constant uncertainty, stress, and the inability to fully engage here at Con. For these students, the inability does not go away when the protests end or when classes resume. Rather, the instability is what Con is built upon and is reflected in all the support that they are currently lacking. We do not get to return to normalcy, rather we do not know what normalcy is. And you know what else is messed up? That staff and custodians were told that they could not attend these protests during work time, that they could not get paid if they did, that people had to go all the way down to Harris in order for the staff to get their voices heard. The adults who look like me were not allowed to be there. The adults who speak like me were not allowed to show up. The adults who come from where I come from are not valued here. So no, we are not here because we wanted to skip class and be locked in a building. We're not here because we wanted to do something good, cool during our time at college. We're not here because we want to be here. We want to be in class. We want to return to work. We want to do homework in shade. We wanted to play in the snow. We want to be with our friends. We're not here because we want to make a show. We shouldn't have to make a show. We are here because this and all that led up to this is what it took for people to finally pay attention. Because this and what led up to this is what it took for people to finally understand a fraction of what it's like to be us. I have been on SGA for my entire time here. I have been to several Board of Trustees meetings. Only now do I feel like we are finally being listened to. Thank you.
While I will be reading my own testimonial later, this testimony is from another student occupier who did not feel comfortable being in this room. I don't fear the administration, but my parents who feed me, house me, and pay my tuition due. Out of respect for them and their wishes, I've decided to not be in the room. As a college student, I've lost count of the people I've known and cared about who've been assaulted. As a college student, I don't know a single abuser held to account. I don't understand how the administration is unable to take DIEI seriously. The sustained and institutional accepted threat of sexual violence in college is only so because predators know they can count on their victims being ignored. We are less safe at this school because of the neglect fostered by this administration and the message they send through their consistent disrespect of DIEI and SVPA. Our only safety is in the people we associate with, and God help those who trust the wrong person, because we know this administration won't help. Katherine Bergeron, your presence at this college indicates you want to not just be a part of this community, but to lead it. So what kind of leader stuffs as much money as she can into her own pockets and scoffs at the staff here asking for a living wage? Furthermore, there are constant renovations here, but only in the most public-facing spaces. The places where students live, learn, and form communities are neglected. Mold and overcrowding in our living spaces, rundown and neglected unit house, and the SVPA office shoved into the corner of the basement of a dorm. Why make the places that no one spends more than a few hours in look nice when the spaces we live in and the resources and programs that make our community work fall apart? I've been sleeping on the floor of this building for a week and a half. The kindness and the generosity of the faculty and staff here no doubt made it easier, but if I had the opportunity to do this again, unaided and unfed, I would in a heartbeat, because this is not about my comfort or administrative awfulness, but about keeping this community we are all a part of healthy and whole. I'm here because I believe in this community. I'm here because I'm appalled by the actions of Katherine Bergeron's administration. I'm here because future con students, who although I pray won't need SVPA, if they do, ought not to find a dysfunctional office in the basement of a dorm run by someone 1 month into their minimum wage job, but a proper counseling service designed to help them overcome their trauma and move forward in their life. Our demands are not just reasonable, but basic amenities afforded to all colleges and aren't afforded out of some neurotic impulse to coddle college students, but out of simple decency. The administration's continued lack of respect for this community over the past 9 years is disgusting and offensive, and the only path towards reconciliation is for KB to resign.
Hi, my name is Wesley Cardani. I use he, they pronouns, and I'm a first year. I'm here to say that I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed. I'm disappointed in an institution that takes pride in its diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. I'm disappointed because I fell for the Khan College brand. The brand that says we care in earnest about DIEI and you should too. And I'm disappointed because this is not my first time struggling with the school's ineffective leadership and performative commitments to diversity. Let me give you some context so that perhaps you can begin to try to understand. I attended a predominantly white high school where the administration loved to tout Massachusetts' status as a blue state without doing the actual work to be progressive. On the surface, my school's leaders said they cared about their marginalized students and wanted to make strides concerning DEI. But what I learned throughout my time there was that pretty words are only a cover for inaction. I'm a queer and transgender student, and for 2 years, I led my school's Gender and Sexuality Alliance, or GSA. I realized very quickly that, although many of the staff care deeply for the students, the people at the top were often too preoccupied with appearances and the status quo to make our school a safe and comfortable place for marginalized students. On one occasion, a friend and I reported a substitute teacher for transphobic and inappropriate language, but were ultimately told that losing him as a sub would cost too much. And this type of experience was common amongst the school's student affinity groups. We were all fighting to achieve what was, in many cases, the bare minimum and still facing sizable opposition. It was painful, it was demoralizing, and it was exhausting. What my parents and many other supportive adults kept saying, don't worry, college will be different. And so when I began my college search, I made diversity, equity, and inclusion a top factor in my decision making. I wanted a school where it was understood that diversity benefits everyone, where everyone is welcomed, where the students come from a variety of backgrounds and experiences, and where I could see a demonstrated and concrete commitment to DIEI. And I thought I had found one. I did my due diligence, asking questions, digging deeper, attending extra virtual programming, and researching online. I knew the school was predominantly white, but I felt as though I could trust Khan to do what my high school couldn't or wouldn't regarding DIEI. I cannot say the same is true today. Khan sells itself as different, as progressive, as forward-thinking and forward-moving, but it's a lie. On an administrative and institutional level, it has grown stagnant and comfortable. Too comfortable with dismissing concerns from students, staff, and faculty. Too comfortable with doing nothing about injustice because it costs something. I take my first statement back. I am angry, as well as disappointed. Khan has failed us. Khan has betrayed us. Katherine Bergeron, you have betrayed us. You are the president of this college, and you were supposed to demonstrate Khan's commitments and mission, including DIEI. In a way, you've done your job too well. Your actions have broken a dam that was holding back waves of institutional disregard, complacency, and neglect toward DIEI. You represent the school. Currently, you represent its worst failings. Do not misinterpret me or twist my words. My criticism of Khan is not said to disparage the school, because while you have put its worst failings on display, Khan's faculty, staff, and students have been too busy displaying its greatest aspects. I have been in this building for over a week. I have not been outside, seeing my friends, or enjoying the sun, or walking into classes for over a week. I have lost out on nearly $100 worth of work. I have not been able to go to rehearsals for choir or to any other extracurricular. I have missed attending Mass on Sunday for one of the first times this school year, and I have missed attending Shabbat dinner with friends. I have, and will continue to miss, valuable academic opportunities that are designed to help me navigate this institution. I have not slept in a bed in a week. And yet, I have had friends, faculty, and staff checking in with me personally as soon as they learned I was occupying. I've had a friend who I met at the start of this semester cover every shift I've missed to ensure I do not lose my job, which I rely on to pay for my own expenses. I've received texts and emails and leniency on assignments, as well as donations of supplies that have made our stay a little less uncomfortable. I have seen the Khan students, faculty, and staff come together as a community, and I have realized 1,000 times over how much I love it here. But Katherine Bergeron, that community did not come from you. Furthermore, that community is hurting because of you. It is telling that this is my second semester here, and I, a white student with considerable privilege, am already so attuned to this college's institutional failings that I've had to call my parents and tell them that I am occupying a building in protest. So do us a favor. Be an effective leader and realize that your presence at the school is a hindrance, a barrier, and a boundary to the progress that so many of us need. Defy that boundary and resign.
I'm gonna sit because I get a little shaky. Dear Katherine Bergeron, my name is Michaela Aquino. I use they, she pronouns. I'm a second generation Hispanic, queer, disabled first-year student from a suburb of Chicago. I grew up with a single mother who, despite being used and abused by my father, did everything she could to give me the best life possible. She went back to school, got her bachelor's, her master's, and she's been an educator for over 14 years now. It is because of this strong, determined woman that I'm sitting, not even in front of you today because you decided not to show up. She has taught me that no one, no matter their hierarchical status over me, will silence me. She has raised me to be strong and determined just like her, to allow my voice to be heard and to stand up for what is right. Although I love her more than anyone, I can't give my mom all the credit. I worked my ass off to get to where I am today, despite facing many challenges and obstacles along the way. I came from a PWI high school where, after taking difficult IB courses, battling with administrators that had no intention of listening to students, and founding my own student-led DEI committee during the pandemic, I found myself physically, mentally, and emotionally drained. I couldn't understand why the administration refused to listen to their students. Isn't school for the students? Why wouldn't the administration want to hear students' concerns to better their learning environment? Why wouldn't they want to create a safe space for their students as they learn new skills and prepare for life after school? Why would they want to discriminate against their students? I never understood it. After the constant draining battles with admin, I told myself I was going to be okay. I worked hard to create change in my high school, and I worked hard to get into a good college on a full tuition scholarship. Things would be different. As I was applying to different schools across the US, I was constantly told that I was going to love Khan. It's a small liberal arts school that's apparently inclusive, progressive, accessible. They prioritize their student safety, and it's an overall loving, caring community where administration was guaranteed to work with me to create the best possible learning environment for me and my BIPOC peers. Aside from all the lovely things that I was told, I wanted to attend Khan because of its spectacular teacher certification program. I spoke on the phone with a few different people from admissions and administrators from the college about this program because I wanted to ensure that I knew all the details before going in. As an aspiring future educator, I thought this was a win-win. A beautiful, inclusive school, and I could graduate with a teaching certification. Khan was the full package, so I thought. I was lied to. There is no teaching certification program, and there hasn't been since July of 2020, well before I even started applying to colleges. In fact, there was barely an education program at all just a few months ago. How is it possible that the people in charge of running the school aren't even aware of its courses or programs? Better yet, how does an entire academic department leave under your administration? Just before signing my ED1 agreement for my scholarship, I had the opportunity to talk to Marina Melendez and Maurice Tyner, two former Khan employees. Two amazing people I was told I could put my full trust into going into Khan as a first year, and two people that I was so excited to work with, gone before even arriving on campus. Two employees of color that warned me about the discrimination I would face as a POC student on the PWI campus. I was lied to even before arriving at Khan, and I continue to be lied to by the administration. The amount of false information and false promises I've been told is completely unacceptable and a big part of why I'm metaphorically standing in front of you today. I've been locked in this building for over a week now. I've slept on the floor of a cold classroom. I've taken showers in a sink. I've missed class and work. I haven't seen my friends
or roommates, and I've sacrificed my comfortability to be here. And I'm not complaining. It's just extremely disappointing that students have to lock themselves in a building for over a week to have their voices heard. I'm not only here to fight for what I believe is right, but I'm in this building for the people that can't be. For the people chased out of Becker, and for those who couldn't occupy Horizon. For the upperclassmen that are tired of fighting the same fight. For the first years that are still getting acclimated to the school. For all the students on scholarships that fear losing their opportunity to be here. For the tired, underpaid, and overworked DIEI workers. For all the untenured faculty and staff that cannot speak out for fear of losing their job. For all the student leaders that have been working hard behind closed doors to ensure this movement is successful. For all the student leaders that have worked with you personally that now fear you. For all the students, faculty,